coming and listening to my informative speech. My informative speech is about the best ways to protect the environment. The U.S. is the largest producer of trash. We throw away nearly 7 pounds of trash daily. Each individual throws away 7 pounds. So if there's 318 million people in the United States, that's over 2,232 million pounds of trash being thrown away daily. My speech will touch on 3 ways to help protect the environment and the research that I found while preparing the speech for you today. The most common trash that is usually thrown away is food, furniture and furnishings, clothing and footwear, and literally any other piece of anything else you would find in your home. So how do we protect our environment from being overtaken by all of this trash? One of the ways that we can help with protecting the environment is by recycling. We can recycle paper, plastic, glass, metals, electronics, and so much more. What we can recycle and what we cannot recycle is where we need to start first. The number one way to check to see if something is recyclable is to look for the recyclable symbol that is on the bottle or the can or whatever it is that you may think may be recyclable. The second thing that we could try and work with is paper. We use paper in our everyday lives. It's a matter of receipts, paper that we're reading. Literally, you see paper all throughout your day. AllRecyclingFacts.com stated that the world's national forests are being cut down at 100 acres a minute. That's a lot of trees. And it takes about 15 to 20 years for one tree to grow just as big as the tree that was being cut down. That is a long time, and we will never catch up with the amount of trees that are being cut down if we're just planting 1 tree or even 2 trees or even 5 trees just daily. Recycling paper cuts down on this amount of trees the amount of trees that are being harvested. Household items such as furniture and furnishings could be sold or they could be traded. There's a lot of businesses nowadays where people refurbish items, whether they find them on the side of the curb, whether they purchase them out of a garage sale or a rummage sale, but there are always people looking for things to redo and refurbish. Those people know what they're looking for, and they would probably buy any piece of furniture or furnishings that you are selling. The second way that we can help protect our environment is by composting. Compost is decaying organic matter that is used for plant fertilizer. Homeguides.sfgate.com stated that compost helps to keep vegetable matter out of our overflowing landfills, and it helps to keep the methane gas from being emitted into our air. Compost is usually used for fertilizer, and it helps to bring nutrients back to the soil after it is being used to produce crops. So if you have a farmer's field that has grown potatoes or soybeans or anything like that, they will use the fertilizer to help bring back the nutrients and the minerals needed for the soil. Like I said, they add the minerals, and then it also helps with the growth of bugs and earthworms that would help to improve the soil's minerals and nutrients. Composting is one of the things that I think should be used quite often, whether it's in a residential area or out of town. There's so many things that can be put into compost, whether it's egg shells or egg cartons, leftover pieces of vegetables or fruit that you might have used to cut up. But it is a very beneficial thing for our environment. We can help to loosen the compacted soil, and it also helps to trap the water when you're using compost. The compost and the fertilizing of the grass will help to hold the water in so that you can build healthier crops in the future, and like I said, it helps to loosen the compacted dirt so that you don't have such hard surfaces to plant your crops in. Natural fertilizer is always going to be better than chemical fertilizer because chemical fertilizer could contain very hard chemicals, obviously, and then a lot of pollution to our water systems if there is any contamination with that. It also helps keep the nitrogen out of our water our water and out of our environment because it can alter our ecosystem in the long run. Methane gas is produced when vegetable matter is stuck decaying underneath the trash in our landfills. Vegetable matter is basically any type of vegetables that get put into the trash and then sit and ferment underneath every other thing that is in the landfill. Once they are moving landfill materials, whether it be scooping and moving something somewhere else, the methane gas then gets put into our air, and it is definitely harmful to everything that it touches, whether it be just the air or any of the animals or people that it comes in contact with. We can reduce pollution by using a compost instead of throwing everything away. Like I said in my previous little bit that I just said, there's a lot of good things that come from composting, and just throwing stuff into the trash is definitely one way to bring pollution to our environment. The third thing that I think that can help our environment is to conserve. We use water every single day, and we should be treating it like it's gold, because we do not have an endless supply of water. We need to conserve the water, save and prevent pollution from water as well. We should not be throwing anything away or putting anything into our water sources that could potentially hurt us in the future. We could reduce electricity, unplug appliances when you're not using them. You can replace light bulbs with energy efficient light bulbs. Computers and monitors could be turned off when you're leaving the office so that they're not running all night when you're not there. Planting trees is one thing to help conserve, because it obviously helps with the taking down of the trees in the future, and it helps have trees there that we actually could potentially at one point take down. Using a garden instead of buying your produce from the grocery store is also more healthy for you. It also doesn't then leave the contamination of the fruits and vegetables on what you're taking and putting into your body. Using rechargeable batteries, and a battery charger is very good for the environment. There's a lot of batteries that just sit and rot in the landfills, and there's not one thing that you can do to basically get rid of them. They just sit there. Keeping your cars maintained is also another way to help with the environment. If your car is running very smoothly, then you're not emitting a lot of pollution from your car into the air. Washing and drying your clothes is another way to conserve energy. You should make sure that you have a full washer and dryer before you're running it. Getting earth bags from the grocery store is one way. Printing double-sided on paper instead of just using one side. Closing vents or doors to rooms that you're not using. Like I said before, the three main things that I think will protect and help our environment are recycling, composting, and conserving. We need to start small, and then we can, once find out what you're going to recycle and if you're going to compost and what you're going to conserve. You start small, and then you can just gradually get bigger and recycle more and more, and once you know exactly how to recycle. Yard waste is one thing that you can use in your compost as well, and I think that is a really good thing, like I said before, to do. Like I said before, we don't have an endless supply of water, and we don't have an endless supply of energy. We could suffer with a drought, or it could be a very wet season, and all of those things affect our environment. The earth won't last forever, and everyone plays a special part in making sure our environment is healthy.